Hi everybody, Drew here, the Neurotic Knitter. Welcome to what I believe is the 7th episode of the Neurotic Knitter podcast. I am reporting to you live tonight from Washington, D.C. I'm actually here for a work engagement, and I don't know if I mentioned in my last podcast, but I have a lot of travel in quarter 3 and quarter 4 this year. And so this is trip number 2 of 10. Now that's a mix of personal and business travel, but I have a lot more travel in these next couple of months than I normally do. So I'm on the road, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to podcast. It's been probably about a month since I podcast, which seems like a really, really long time. As you can tell, the summer of the tank continues. I think it's like almost time to like close the chapter, at least for 2018 on summer of the tank. For those of you who are just joining, I rediscovered my love for tank tops this year. Groundbreaking news, Drew likes tank tops, apparently this year. So anyway, that chapter is probably going to close soon because it's going to get chilly. Although in typical DC fashion, it's like 95 degrees with like 80% humidity outside. So maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I'm so glad to be with you guys. My room that I'm staying in is like, I don't know, red velvet. There's like a red pleather like headboard that goes to the ceiling. The hotel is called the Rouge, so I guess they're trying to keep with like a red theme. It's a Kimpton hotel. I don't know how many of you have stayed in those hotels before, but they're pretty cool. They're like really funky, interesting places. So anyway, there's a ton to catch you up on. This is also a rare evening podcast. I am not a nighttime person, so you'll have to forgive me if I've got like bags under my eyes or I just look a little rough. Today was my travel day. Spent a bunch of the day working. September is always the craziest time of year for my work life, so it's just been really, really busy. All really good because I work with great people and we all like lift each other up and we're in it together, but still just long hours, little sleep, lots of travel. Anyway, check me out on social media. One thing I did want to say is I started the Neurotic Knitter Instagram handle, and I'm unsure if I'm going to combine. I'm either going to delete that one or I'm going to find a way to like become the Neurotic Knitter. My current personal Instagram is at Drew in Real Life. So if you followed me on Neurotic Knitter but you're not following me on Drew in Real Life, feel free to follow me. Most of my stuff is knitting anyway, so like my friends who don't knit, sorry. It's a big part of my life. Knitting, dogs, baking, occasional rose pictures, and that's about it. Occasional mic pictures. Yeah, so anyway, follow me there. I'm Drew Jacobs 83 on Ravelry. So now that's out of the way. Just some stuff to talk about in terms of life updates. I'll try to keep this like relatively brief, and then I'll get right into the knitting stuff. Actually, like don't have a lot of like show and share things today because I'm on the road. But I do have some things to talk about that are knitting related. But before that, life updates and just general updates. Already told you about work. One other thing that's been going on that's like kind of exciting is Mike and I have started to look at houses. We've been looking at places in and around Fayetteville. It's been really fun. I'm a huge home and garden guy. I love the idea of decorating and picking out the finishes and having a home. It's been a dream of mine, and I've worked really hard over the years. I've advanced in my career. Mike and I have been saving, and I think we're almost there. I think we decided the other day, though, that I think we might wait another year to put a bigger down payment in and just to be in a better position. But we're so close, and I'm so excited. It's going to be really fun. So that's been a fun thing. We've been checking out neighborhoods during our evening time, and we went and saw some model homes in a community that we really like, and it was just fabulous. And just like a lot of daydreaming about having a home and a yard for the dogs and a place to call our own. I mean, we already have a wonderful home, an apartment home, but in our mid-30s, we're ready for a house, and we're ready to not have to live with so many neighbors. I've always been an old cranky man, but like my old cranky man like sensitivities are like escalating lately, and I'm just ready to be out of the apartment. So that's house stuff. The roses continue to bloom. I've been posting on social media little pictures of the bouquet. We do like weekly bouquets from our rose garden, so it's really exciting. I've been posting photos. Here are some of the roses that are in our garden that I have tattooed on me, just because I think they're beautiful. So yeah, that's going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like not knitting related. Not really. Nothing really else. Just been busy with work. So knitting updates. There are many. So since I last saw you, I had the opportunity on another work trip that I took in like mid-August. I had an opportunity to go visit Karen Pozniak, K-Poz, also known as the Yarn Pimp, also known as super sweet, wonderful lady, at Do You Knit. And this is in New Jersey, for those of you who don't know. And Karen is just like a bundle of energy. Her shop is really cool. Lots of indie dyed and hand dyed yarns from across the country and the world. Definitely like it was a bucket list item for me. Hopefully I'll get to come back and visit at some point. So I did that. Surprisingly, I didn't like go nuts in terms of yarn purchases. I think it's in part because I've had this long history with Karen. Like I've tried to visit her like 3 times, and every single time before this last time, I've been foiled by travel problems. So when you live in Northwest Arkansas, traveling is like, it can either be like really smooth and fine, or it can be a complete nightmare. And when I went to go to New Jersey recently for work, it was really harrowing. Like, I mean, not harrowing, but just like I was stuck in Chicago O'Hare, or was it Chicago? Yeah, I think it was Chicago, or maybe it was Charlotte. I was stuck in some airport somewhere, and they like told us that the tires on the plane needed to be replaced. So I almost missed Karen because she closes at 3 on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday when I went to visit her. But I got some really amazing Ushatita. I think that's how you say it, Ushatita. It's a single ply yarn. I think she's from like the Netherlands or Holland or something, or somewhere in Europe. Anyway, her yarn is really beautiful and super hard to get, and of course Karen had like a wall of it, so I had to get some of that. I got a little bit of Wool and Boon, which is not super hard to get, but I just really like Wool and Boon, so so that was really exciting. I got to meet her, and that was a lot of fun. I've also, sorry, I keep looking over here because, as you know, I'm like a planner. I've got to have my notes, so I've got my little like list of notes here. I also went to Nashville. Mike and I try to go at least twice a year. So for, just a little bit of background on this. Mike and I met in Nashville in 2010. No, is that right? No, 2008. I'm losing my mind, guys. 2008. And we met in grad school at Vanderbilt. He was getting his PhD, and I was getting my master's. And we met shortly after I moved there. He had already been there for several years. And we just love it there. It's like one of our, I mean, we both like he comes from New York, I come from Michigan, and then we consider Nashville to kind of be like a second home. We both have a lot of friends there. It's where I learned how to knit. I learned at Bliss Yarns, as I've shared in previous episodes. So we did that. That was really, really fun. As is always the case when I visit Bliss Yarns, I get sucked into some sort of knit-along. So my friends Heather, Gina, and I, and maybe Deb, I can't remember if Deb got in on this, but we bought yarn to make this shawl called the Manuka Honey. It's a Tagia Hilliard pattern. I don't know if I'm actually going to make the pattern. which is terrible. I always flake out on the knit-alongs, not just for them, but like across the board. Excuse me, sorry, I just ate supper and I'm a little digesting here. But anyway, so I went to Nashville and got to see all my people. My friend Gina just bought a fabulous new house, so we had a really fun time getting together and just like knitting and hanging out and being together. So that was just wonderful. I also got a new piece of artwork. There he is. It's obviously an owl. And the artist her name is Mia Graffam. You can follow her on Instagram at Mia Graffam, and she tattoos out of Victory Tattoo. It was somewhat unexpected. We decided somewhat last minute to go to Nashville, and I had just gotten some new tattoos on this side, some additional roses in July in Portland, and I don't know, I had been following Mia for a while. I'd really wanted an owl tattooed, and I wanted it kind of in like dramatic, like red and like harvest colors. And so I just bit the bullet. I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So yeah, it was really exciting. Mike might be slightly worried that I'm gonna like have a tattoo bodysuit at the rate I'm getting tattoos, but I'm really gonna like slow it down now that I have like my owl and my roses. A friend of mine, I can't remember the exact word, but I think in Mexico, the nickname for an owl is Tico. And so I was trying to think of a name for this owl, and I thought that was he suggested that, Tico, and I thought, well, that's a really cute name. So I've named him Tico. He's got like a little flower in his belly, and he's holding on to like a little flower branch here. It's probably hard to see it. But so it kind of combines my love of owls as well as just like flowers. I love flowers, and if I get any more tattoos, they'll probably be all kinds of different flowers. I'm thinking of doing some up here and maybe some on my shoulders, but probably not more than that. So, but we'll see. Once you get bitten by the bug, it's hard to stop. And I just love Mia's style. The other thing I'll say, and then I'll like shut up about tattoos, is that this healed so well. Like, I don't know like if Mia has like magic hands or like she's really good, but this one I had more trouble in the healing process, and I had more kind of color loss and issues, and then this one just like perfect, like no problem. Anyway, so I did that while I was in Nashville as well. So it was a busy time, and then I came back and work has just been like bananas. Okay, so that was life updates. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Sorry guys, this is gonna be like the sloppiest, like most unplanned podcast. I've been meaning to podcast for weeks, but it's just been too nuts. So I have like a flickery light in the black background. There's like the air conditioning blowing over here. There's like red velvet drapes. Like people are like, where are you? Are you in like some brothel somewhere? No, I'm just on a work trip at a Kimpton hotel. But my life is like, I'm just joking, but it's like kind of like disastery right now. Like I'm like a little bit in train wreck territory, like not sleeping, not eating, like where am I? I don't know, Washington, D.C. Okay, so on to knitting stuff, and I have a lot to talk about, even though I don't have a ton to share visually. Hopefully you can, I'll try to like not talk for a whole hour, but updates on knitting. So one thing that I've been working really, really hard on is my Guthrie sweater. Uh-oh, my computer just like shut off, sorry. Gotta have my notes. I've been working on this Guthrie sweater. I've posted it all over social media like a crazy person because I am so obsessed with it. I think I showed you guys last time, excuse me, my progress. I am now at the point where, so here's the story. I knit the body. I knit like a little too far because I tried it on and it was like gonna be a little too long. So I just like reserved the bottom stitches, and then I went on to knit one of the sleeves. Then I went to Nashville, where my friend Deb, who's like a knitting genius, was able to help me like rip the body back a little bit, and then we tried it on again, and it looks like it's going to be a good length. So I'm now like almost done with the waistband, and I finished the sleeve. I'm so excited about this sweater. I'm making it out of Madeline Tosh DK, color is Onyx, and House of Alamo DK, which I'm like obsessed with her. She's like, that sounds creepy. I'm not really obsessed with you, Heather. I mean, I think you're lovely. I'm not like a stalker though. And the colorway that for that one is Glitter Storm. It's out of her glitter collection. And it basically looks like stained glass. It's amazing. Like the effect with the Fair Isle and like the black backdrop, it just looks like stained glass. I'm really, really excited. And just 1 second, I got a message I gotta check on real quick. Okay, sorry. Personal stuff going on. I got a text message. I had to make sure that everything was okay. Okay, so it's just amazing. The patterns, Guthrie, Caitlin Hunter, Gage, just be forewarned that like you're gonna have to do some like MacGyver on the math, but otherwise it's a beautiful pattern and I would totally recommend it. Like please, please, please make it. She also has like Tecumseh, that's another popular one that's coming out. But anyway, has already come out. I'm so excited though, because it's going to be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. So this year I'm going to Rhinebeck for the first time. I'm staying in a super cute cabin with my friends Dawn and Sarah and Kelly. And you've got to have a Rhinebeck sweater. I actually have two, and I probably won't be able to eke out a third, but maybe I will. I don't know. Probably not. I'm thinking there's like a 10% chance of that. But I will at least have my Marled Mania from Stephen West, which I finished earlier this year, which is beautiful. And then I'll have my Guthrie Sweater. I'm like a little nervous about the blocking. If you guys have any tips for me on blocking, I don't just want a steam block because I noticed that I think that there's like a little bit of excess dye on my yarn. I'm not freaked out about it. But I do want to give it like a soak in some water and put some color catchers in there so I can get that extra dye out. But if you have any tips for me, I'm like always a little nervous when I block stuff like that because it can grow, it can stretch. My gauge is not exactly tight. It's not so loose, but it's looser than I'm normally used to. So anyway, I should be finishing that in probably about a week or 2 weeks. I'm just taking a little break from that. It's hard to take that when you travel, and it's at the point where it's huge and kind of bulky and cumbersome. So it's really only my at-home knitting. Okay. Oh, so another thing that's really exciting, knitting-wise, is this year I'm participating in FibreShare. I was unaware of this until just recently. My friend Heather told me about it, and it's kind of hard to explain, but I'm gonna try. So, FibreShare is an international event, I guess you would call it, where you go online and you pay $8 to sign up. And when you sign up, you fill out this questionnaire that has all kinds of questions about your knitting interests or your fiber interests, colors that you like, hobbies that you have. I mean, all kinds of things that about you that would be helpful for somebody to put like a package together for you. And you're paying the $8 basically to have these people match you with you get two separate individuals. You get somebody that you're sending a package to, and you get somebody that's going to be sending a package to you. So it's just like this huge gift fiber swap thing, and I wanted to give it a shot. My friend Heather did it, I think, last year. She loved it. It's a really good way to meet like friends from all over the world who are interested in knitting and crochet and other kinds of fiber arts. I'm really excited because I kind of took a leap of faith, and you could pick whether you want to just stay domestic if you're in the US or if you want to go international. And so So the person I'm sending to is located in the United Kingdom, and the person I'm receiving from is in Germany. So I'm really excited. Like, one of the things that you do is you like make contact with these people, and you start to like, I don't know, like ask them questions and try to like become friends. And so it's been fun because my girl who's sending to me from Germany, she's a big baker just like I am, so we've been swapping cookie recipes, which has been really fun. She also got her first tattoo, which she was excited to tell me about. She told me that she was getting an ice bear, and I was like, an ice bear? What is that? And then she sent me like a picture of it, and it's a polar bear. Lost in translation a little bit, but it turned out really cool. So I'm excited to see what will happen from all of this. I'm excited to participate. My person in the United Kingdom, she is just starting her knitting journey, and she's really into socks. So I'm super pumped because I think out of all the yarn you can buy, sock yarn is like some of the most fun. It's always like brightly colored, and there's like striping yarn, and there's all kinds of like gadgets and tools and great books and resources. So I'm trying to think about like what I would put together for her. The only rule is that you have to send 200 grams of fiber or yarn to the person, but the unspoken rule, or the unspoken kind of norm, is that you would throw some like other little trinkets and gadgets and books or like other things into the box. So this person you're sending like a care package to somebody, and then you're getting one in return, which I think is so cool, especially for knitters. Like, we give a lot of stuff away. We spend a lot of the end of the quarter 3 and quarter 4 of the year like knitting and doing holiday knitting for others. So it's kind of cool to like do some stuff where it's like a little selfish, little for you, little treat for you, as if the yarn buying wasn't enough. But anyway, I'm really excited to participate in that. That's FibreShare, and you can look on Instagram if you're interested. Unfortunately, the signups have closed already for this year, but there's always next year. So that's going on. Okay, so what am I working on? I did bring a project with me, and I've got it down here, but first I want to talk about the yarn. So, and just an update on my yarn situation. So, I've reached capacity, and by that I mean I reached a point where I feel like I have too much yarn. Like, I need to downsize a little bit. I'm going to Rhinebeck. There will certainly be yarn purchases at Rhinebeck. I just think that I'm mostly feeling like there's a good amount of my yarn that I could probably offload and like not miss, and I'm wanting to do that. I've been knitting for almost 10 years, and those of you who have been knitting a long time know sometimes you kind of go through phases with your knitting. So like the things that I bought and kind of stashed away in like years 1, 2, and 3 are like not things that some of them are not things I'm interested in anymore. Or you get like crazy ideas for projects, and then you look and you're like, what was I thinking with that one? Like, let me just get rid of this yarn. So anyway, and then there's just some good stuff that I think it's all good stuff. It's just like, I'm never gonna knit all of this. Like, I have something like 30 or 40 skeins alone of self-striping yarn, which is crazy. You accumulate it 1 and 2 skeins at a time, and before you know it, you have 40, and you're like, am I ever gonna knit 40 pairs of self-striping socks? Probably not. I haven't even knit socks in the last like 2 years, so I got rid of some of that. Like, I had like a dozen Yowza skeins. I'm never gonna like knit all of these. But anyway, so I'm destashing a little bit. So if you're interested, check out @DestashDrew, another Instagram account, also my Drew in Real Life one, where I'm posting some of my destash items. Though I gotta say, just as a sidebar, destashing is really not all that it's cracked up to be, because when it comes right down to it, 1, no one's gonna pay full price, so you're already losing money that way, and 2, it's kind of expected that you would include shipping in whatever cost you provide, and shipping is not cheap. Like, it's $4 to $10 depending on how much you're sending, so you're really not making that much money when you destash. So I'm kind of rethinking it. I don't know. I'm like on the fence. Like there's a part of me that like just wants to like stop buying so much yarn, and then there's a part of me that wants to destash. We'll see how it goes. But back to my point, which was this beautiful yarn. So I was digging through my stash. So one thing I am doing that I'm gonna like give myself at least like a tiny pat on the back for is I've been knitting out of stash a lot this year. I've accumulated some yarn this year, but like not as much as I normally do. And I've been knitting a lot of things out of stash, and a lot of big projects that I'm making, I'm using stash yarn at least like a heavy component of the project. But I was going through my stash the other day, and I discovered this yarn. And I want to talk about this because this just feels important to me. It's not really that important in like the scheme of life, but it's important to me because I want to share some information with you, which is this yarn is called Targhee, Targhee worsted, and it is by Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Many of you are probably familiar with Blue Moon Fiber Arts. In my opinion, it is some of the most beautiful yarn like known to man. The woman who is the dyer, her name is Tina Newton. She's located in Oregon. She's been dyeing for years and years and years. I mean, she was there when I first started knitting 10 years ago, and I think she had been there for some time before that. And she has like an exceptional eye for color. She puts combinations of yarn together, or colors together in a skein of yarn that you wouldn't think of. But anyway, Eat Sleep Knit, which is a yarn store both online and in person that's located just outside of Atlanta, carries a lot of her yarn. And Targhee worsted is special in that the multicolored one, of which this is one, and this colorway is called Free Range Chickens, which I think is really cute. She did a whole line of yarn that was like chicken inspired, which I think is kind of funny. Only Eat Sleep Knit carries the multicolored colorways from Blue Moon on Targhee worsted. Important to know. Although I think if you like ask Tina nicely, she might do it for you straight from the website. But Eat Sleep Knit is a good shop to support as well. So, and it's a good online one to order from online. Anyway, I got this skein from them online some years ago, and one thing that makes it really cool is that this skein of Targhee worsted has 616 yards. That's a lot. It's like 8.8 ounces, which is over half a pound of yarn in one skein. You can do a lot. This is like, for people who are familiar with Yowza, this is more than a skein of Yowza. And it's only $34 for the whole skein. It doesn't have any cashmere or alpaca. It's like a little bit more rustic, but it's not scratchy and it's not rough. It's just a little more rustic. It's gonna feel really nice against the skin. So anyway, I was obsessed with this, and I was like, what am I gonna make? And I also had a skein in gray, and this is actually, I don't know if you can tell, but the lighting is so bad in here, but this gray is the same gray that's in this skein. So like they match, and they would actually blend. They actually blend in a lot of places. Because I knew I wanted to do something with these two together. So anyway, I was searching online through my favorites on Ravelry, and I realized that I had that book called Sequence Knitting by Cecilia Camperario. I don't think, I probably saying her last name wrong. Cecilia something. She came out with this book called Sequence Knitting, and sequence knitting is basically like her term for creating interesting and complex fabrics with really easy stitch repeats. So the scarf I'm working on, which I'm gonna like finally share with you in minute 30 of the podcast, like a crazy person. It's called Color Mill, and what you do is you cast on, and I'll show you close up in a minute. you cast on a number of stitches that is, how do I explain this? You can do any knit purl combination. So you can do like knit 5, purl 5, or knit 6, purl 6, or knit 7, purl 7, whatever you want that way. And then you add an additional 7 on. So let me explain. So for mine, I'm doing knit 7, purl 7. So I have to cast on 14, which is the knit 7, purl 7, plus an additional 7. So I cast on 413 stitches. Because I'm knitting it lengthwise, which is kind of crazy, I know. So you can see, like, I have this huge needle. Look at this. Isn't this nuts? I did like a little gauge swatch, and I figured out like how many stitches I would need to cast on to get a scarf that's 84 inches long, because I like really long scarves. But let me see if I can get this close so you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see. So it's what's interesting is the stitch pattern kind of, it's really hard to see, but it offsets your color and your gray. So I'm doing like one pass with the gray, and then I'm doing a pass with the chickens, and then I'm doing a pass with the gray and a pass with the chickens. But the knit 7 purl 7 feature kind of makes it staggered. So it's kind of interesting and cool. I'm also excited because the colors are kind of sporadic and they're not pooling. Sometimes I guess that's the only potential downside if you don't like pooling. I kind of like pooling sometimes, but that's the only potential downside of the Blue Moon Fiber Arts yarn, is it can pool sometimes if you hit like a certain stitch count. So anyway, I'm working on this color mill scarf. I'm really liking it. It was kind of crazy to cast on 413 stitches. The only other scarf I've ever knit lengthwise like that was the linen stitch scarf, which I hated. Like, no, that was like a knitting failure. But once I got past that point, it's really nice because knit 7, purl 7, like you just doing that the whole pattern, literally knit 7, purl 7, the whole row. You turn it over, then you do knit 7, purl 7, and you cast on that extra 7. So you're knitting your pearls and purling your knits on every row, and it's really easy and kind of just like. And back to the Targhee worsted for like one more minute. This weighs 247 grams. The other one, the gray one, weighs 260 grams. I'm fairly certain, I'm gonna see where I end up at the end, but I'm fairly certain I'm gonna be able to get 2 scarves out of 2 balls of yarn. So think about it, $34 per skein, that's $68, and you probably get 2 matching scarves. Good value. You should check this yarn out, and great colors. Eat Sleep Knit has some really good colors in stock right now, so check it out. Okay, of course my computer's gone to sleep again. Like I told you guys, this is like gonna be a disaster. Okay, so just a few more things before I wrap up. This is gonna be like my shortest podcast potentially ever. So I'm sorry, you're welcome. I don't know, just depends. I'm gonna have a segment starting in the next episode, which I think is episode 8. I think this is 7. I didn't even like look at YouTube before this. I think it's 7 though. It's gonna be a UFO segment, but it's going to be a frogging segment. So I'm going to take some of my in-progress projects of varying ages and stages of completion, and I'm going to rip them out. I won't bore you by ripping them out and taking like 20 minutes to do it, but I will show them to you. I'll tell you a little bit about their history. I'll tell you a little bit about why they're like neglected, and then I'm gonna rip them out because I have way too many projects. And there's some that I would never rip out because I know that I will eventually finish them. There are some where I'm like, you know what, like there's so little here, or like it's so fussy that I just know that, or it's just like I don't really like the project that much anymore. So I'm just gonna like save the needle, save the project bag, tear the yarn out. And some people, like Cassie Monksguard, get a kick out of watching people frog their projects. That's right, Cassie, I got your number. Other people do too. I bet you like a lot of my friends would actually probably like get some sort of weird pleasure out of watching me frog. Because I got a lot of projects. I'm like not the greatest at finishing things. Yeah, I don't have a great track record there. And the other thing is, I have a lot of things that are really close to being done. So maybe I'll do a segment on that. Like maybe I'll try to like, you know, have some accountability and like finish some things at the end of the year. I've just been so focused on sweaters this year, and those are like long slogs. Sorry, I have like a weird tickle in my throat. I'm a disaster today. Okay. So that's coming, UFO segment and potentially a segment on works in progress, which I was sharing with you guys some works in progress a few episodes ago. But maybe I'll bring that back when I'm like back in the yarn studio and in my home and like not on the road. Which is weird because I actually think like now that I think about it, I might have a lot of my podcasts in this like next little bit be on the road because it's a good time for me to do it when I'm away from home and I don't have to bother Mike with it. So we'll see. One thing I wanted to share before I left you guys is some products that are both knitting related and non-knitting related that I love, that are like recent acquisitions that I want to share with you. Excuse me. So I don't know how many of you are Tom Bin fanatics. Tom Bin is a bag maker. His designs are very utilitarian in nature. I love them. I have a bag from him called the TriStar, which I use as my main travel bag. It's also like a really good overnight bag. Like if you do like a 1 or 2 night trip, you could totally get away with just this one bag. But anyway, he has all of these fun designs, and I got this cool insert for my bag. So this actually like slips into the bag, and it's got a zipper on it, and it's it's a pocket for all your stuff. But what you don't know is, watch. So it looks just like a normal insert, but then you unzip it, and you flip it inside out, and what happens? It becomes a backpack. Pretty cool. It's very like utilitarian, so it doesn't have like a ton of padding. It does have one pocket in the front, which is really cool. I love this. I love stuff like this because when I travel, like let's say I'm going for work and I'm bringing, a suitcase and my big heavy carry-on. The carry-on has all kinds of junk in it and it's really heavy. It's made of like ballistic nylon. So when I'm going into the office or I'm going to a knitting meeting or I'm doing something, I'm like sightseeing, it's nice to have this. It does double duty. I can use it in my carry-on luggage to pack, and then I can like leave that stuff at the hotel, and then I can have a lightweight backpack to carry with me. And this is like $50, which I think is pretty good for a backpack / insert. So just wanted to share that with you. That's what I have my color mill in. In fact, I'm using that backpack to carry it in. Some knitting related stuff. So I'm in Washington, D.C., as I told you, and I couldn't help myself. I'm really not supposed to be buying anything, but I had to go to FibreSpace, partially because I wanted to get some little goodies for my FibreShare partner, which I'm not sharing with you on the podcast because it's a secret, but I got some things for myself. Just 2 little things, and no yarn. At least no yarn for me. But anyway, one thing I got, which I'm like so geeked about, is this pin. And it's a pin from Twill and Print. And it was like a good timing thing. Like I saw FibreSpace posted about this on Instagram. And then it was like yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta have one of those pins. And I know they're gonna sell out like immediately. So enamel pins, as we all know, are like all the rage right now. This one is so cute. I gotta show it to you. Okay. So it says, just one row. And I don't know if you can see. Oh, the lighting's so bad. I'm so sorry, guys. It says just one row, and then it has this wheel, and I don't know if you can tell, but it spins, and there's like a little arrow that points, and like there's like little things that say on here like just one more cookie, just one more row, just one more episode, just one more cup, just one more nap. And I just thought that was really cute because as knitters, we're always like, just one more row or like just one more episode, and like we keep knitting along. And it spins, which I think that's like so cool. It'll probably spin a little bit better when it's like actually on my bag. So that's really cute. That's from Twill and Print. And then the other thing that I got was also this was something I've been wanting for a really long time, and I'm such a geek. And I'm going to try to take it out so you can see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is from Acreworks, and some of you may have this already, but it's a swatch gauge. And what makes this a little bit different, there are lots of gauge checkers out there. What makes this one really cool is it's very sturdy. It's made of like super hard plastic, and it's got these little like gentle yet effective little teeth in it. So you can basically like put it on your knitting and it's not going to slide around. And then you can use these little cross hatches to count your stitches and check your gauge. And I've had my eye on this for a while, so I picked that up too while I was at FibreSpace. I'm telling you guys, I had a lot of restraint. I should be like commended because FibreSpace just had a trunk show with Miss Babs, and they had like piles and piles and piles of Yowza, and I did pet it, and I almost bought a skein of Berlin, but then I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not buying any more Yowza because I have too much. I'm not doing it. But they had a lot of really cute stuff, and they had those like little wrist rulers, and I really want one of those, like those ones from I don't know what it's called, like Katrinkles or PDX something. I don't know. Those like leather ones, like that come in different colors. I really want one, but I'm not complaining. I got my little gauge checker. I got that cute little pin. I got some stuff from my FibreShare partner. So I'm excited. Okay. Well, wrapping up, just a few other updates, like what's coming next. So, what's coming next? If I survive September, guys, it's going to be like a miracle. Because September, man, it's a big month. So at the end of September, I'm coming back to DC for a work thing. Literally in 2 weeks, I will be at the same exact hotel for something else work-related. And then the middle of October, I'm gone for an entire week. I'm going from Arkansas to San Diego. I'm presenting at a conference called Grantmakers for Education. I'll be on a panel there. And then I'm flying from that, and I'm attending the conference as well. And then I'm flying from San Diego to Albany. It'll be my first red-eye ever. A little worried about that. I think it's going to be bad. But anyway, it's the only way I could make it work. So I'll be flying from San Diego to Albany to attend Rhinebeck. So excited for Rhinebeck. I feel like I don't have, like, I can't, my mind can't fathom what I'm in store for. What I do know is I'm going to plan, because I think it's going to be really overwhelming. So I'm going to try to like follow people on social media, look at the vendor list, and like at least think of like 5 spots I want to hit and different things I want to see so I don't get so overwhelmed. So I'm doing that. That's in October. Then my friend Tracy's getting married the week after that, so I'm going to Michigan to be a part of that and to celebrate Tracy and her soon-to-be husband, which I'm really excited about. And then the week following that, I am going kind of randomly to California to visit a friend of mine named Cassie. So I'm doing that. That's going to be really fun. And then in middle November, I have a work retreat again in DC. And then in December, I'm coming back to DC again for a conference. And then at the end of December, I'm going to New York for Christmas. It's a lot. A lot of traveling. Looking forward to those airline miles. Looking forward to actually like seeing friends and doing like lots of fun stuff. Like very blessed and really, really excited to be able to do everything I get to do. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. I'm kind of sleepy, guys. It's like 8:34 Eastern time, which means it's not that late where I'm from, 7:34. I have a big day tomorrow, big important meeting, so any good vibes you can send in the afternoon tomorrow would be much appreciated. And I think that's it for now. So, miss you guys. Promise to podcast more often, maybe in 2 weeks actually from DC, and I'll try to bring some more knitting with me this time. Thank you all for your continued support and kind messages, and I'll see you next time. Bye.